Can you hear me? Great. I am recording this webinar, so I will send a link out after it's processed and put on our YouTube page, so you can access it and send it around, as needed, so other folks can watch it if they couldn't attend at this time. So that is kind of my gist. So Becca, I guess you can take it away.
Cool. Thanks, Tori. It's very weird doing this virtually, I'll say that. Normally, when I start a presentation, I'm like, oh, great to see everybody. So I really appreciate the fact that we're still able to do this and working together to deal with all the fun challenges of being virtual. So I'm sharing my screen, and based on Tori's feedback earlier, you can all see it. And I'm just gonna start from there. So if for some reason you can't hear me or the screen isn't sharing properly, just feel free to let myself or Tori know and we can stop and recalibrate. Okay, so you are tuned in to a presentation called You and Efficiency, talking about savings and comfort. Again, my name is Becca White. I'm a community engagement manager for Efficiency Vermont. And that basically means that I work in communities to help bring the resources and offerings that Efficiency Vermont has to those different communities in more of a grassroots level way. So you might know me if you did the button-up campaign last year or were associated. That was a big part of my work. So let's dive in. This presentation is about 45 minutes long, but it can be shortened. So usually I like to take in some time for questions at the end. So yeah. Okay, let's see if I can go here. There we go. So I did just want to thank Two Rivers for being our host today and setting this up. The opening question that we usually start with when looking at the agenda is, what are the things that Efficiency Vermont can do and what we can do to fit your overall goals. So when I look at the agenda today, we're going to learn a lot about what Efficiency Vermont offers and the different things you can take advantage of, as well as different specific projects you could do. So if there's one of these projects that you're seeing on the agenda, whether it be weatherization, heat pumps, advanced wood heating, smart thermostats, if there's something specific that you realize that you want more in depth on those topics, you're welcome to ask me about them today, or I can also follow up and we can have more specific conversations. So there we go. Now I'm trying to do two screens at once, so let's see if I can figure this out. So the first thing to know is what Efficiency Vermont does. And that conversation can be really long or really short. We offer, there are a lot of entities that have resources and experience and are designed to help you save money and be more comfortable in your home. And Efficiency Vermont is just one of them. So it's a nice, I like this part of this presentation because it tells you what we do and it tells you all of the partners that we work with to make that happen. So your first partner is Efficiency Vermont. That's us. We're the statewide energy efficiency utility. We serve every county, every town, and city, with the caveat of not Burlington. We do partner closely with Burlington Electric, which serves Burlington, but we don't actually serve that community. We also partner with different efficiency utilities, like Vermont Gas has one. We're a good place to start, in addition to providing incentives and rebates on products that I'm going to be talking about. We also serve as an information hub when you've got specific efficiency questions, and we have all sorts of details and offers from our other partners on our website, and you can see all those on the website, which I'm going to spend a little bit of time at the end showing you how to navigate. The next group of folks who are a resource to you as a Vermonter is your distribution utility. Distribution utilities, for example, I think, Two Rivers, Tori, you might be able to correct me if I'm wrong. It's mainly Green Mountain Power folks in
Yes.
our area. Okay,
Mhm.
yeah. There might be a few. You don't go as far as Ludlow, do you?
No, I know in our upper part of our region, it's Washington Electric Co-op. We have a little bit of that, but most of our region is Green Mountain Power.
Okay, great. Yeah, so Green Mountain Power would be the people I'm talking about in this slide, if you're, for the most part, in the Two Rivers area, or Washington Electric Co-op. An example of where Efficiency Vermont stops, but your utility might be able to offer a resource, is rebates on electric vehicles. Efficiency Vermont doesn't cover transportation at this point, but your Green Mountain Power or Washington Electric potentially could have a rebate that you could take advantage of. The next group is your local bank or lender. Whether you're financing a project based on the information you hear today or potentially in the future, always checking back with your local lender or bank for financing options is that's a great move. Okay. And then we've got, as a part of some of the work that Efficiency Vermont does, we have a network of contractors. As much as each of these entities, they can help you learn about reducing costs for efficiency upgrades, you can't get very far without an expert who can actually do that work in your home. So we've taken some of the work out of that for that process of selecting a contractor by establishing the Efficiency Excellency Network. It's a network of contractors, designers, and other professionals who are committed to providing their customers with the highest level of efficiency standard services, energy efficiency services. And I always say the EEN network, so it is the Excellent Efficiency Network, but if I say EEN network, just so you know, there's only one N. It's a weird thing I always do. And if you are an EEN member or someone who's an EEN member, we are always so thankful to have them be on our team providing great service throughout Vermont. The next group is your local hardware store. We partner, and especially in these times, your local hardware store might be doing things a little differently. Maybe they're offering curbside pickup of products or supplies, but they're always a resource for you. You can look for the Energy Star label, which you can see on the green part is the Smart Choice Efficiency Vermont Energy Star label. If you see an Energy Star label, that's great, and even better, those Smart Choice labels are for products that are the most energy efficient in the market and tested for the highest standards of quality and performance. And if you're not sure where to start, maybe you're at some point in the future, you're able to wander an aisle to purchase a product, or maybe you're online shopping, you're browsing. You would be best served by checking out the marketplace.efficiencyvermont.com portal, where you can compare products, read reviews, all that stuff. So online shopping, or eventually in future shopping, great resource. The next group is your weatherization agency. And based on that map, you could potentially be Capstone or Sevka in our neighborhood or in our area.
We have a little bit of both. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So I always like to highlight our weatherization agencies. They're actually doing a lot now with the COVID-19 situation that they typically would not be doing with such a high demand. Are the Capstones, the Sevkas, the CVOEOs of the world. They're doing a lot right now. So just a shout out to them. But they also typically serve income eligible Vermonters with their weatherization assistance programs. We, for example, provide free light bulbs and appliances to eligible customers who are participating in weatherization programs. We have and we also work with directing those customers to other programs. So if you feel that you might be an income eligible Vermonter, we can also connect you with a weatherization agency, or you can start there. Okay, so I moved this presentation around to try to focus on do it today simple tips up front, because we're all inside for the most part. So what's some things you can do at your home now that are simple, that don't require having a contractor come in right now? Okay, and I know we're all not quite ready to think about summer. For me, I'm looking out my window and it's raining, so it's hard for me to envision it. But some simple tips to keep cool in the summer. I think I don't even know if I need to say this one. Every Vermonter I've met, they don't have any problem opening their window to take advantage of fresh breeze, but it's a good reminder to think about the outside as a way to keep cool. Uh, Another tip, delay heat product tasks or heat producing tasks like doing your laundry or washing your dishes until the evening when it gets cooler, taking advantage of the natural cool of the evening when we don't have sun shining on us. And then avoid grilling or avoid using the oven. Try grilling instead. Don't avoid grilling. My apologies. Please grill. Grill to your heart's content. I think I could take advantage of all those really easy. And then this is more directed towards winter, and we're kind of we're in that shoulder season right now, so I wanted to have both of these. We had fun at Efficiency Vermont trying to think of a few things you shouldn't do to try to survive cold weather. For instance, we would not recommend building a blanket fort. We would not recommend sitting in the dark every night, turning all those lights off. And we also would not recommend building an ice cave to store your holiday leftovers. But you could try instead, let's see if whoa, inspecting your furnace or boiler regularly and clearing vents. Maintenance is also about efficiency. You could change your light bulbs to efficient LEDs, and you could also be shopping for an efficient refrigerator and weatherizing your home. So that's a little bit of fun to start out the presentation with some good tips. Okay, so let's jump into the meat of it, weatherization. Just got to scroll down here. Okay. So we know now that almost all homes can benefit from weatherization. So whether or not you live in that 1850s farmhouse or you live in a 1990s modular style home, weatherization can help just about everybody. So the basics of weatherization. Weatherization is like wearing a sweater and a windbreaker during chilly seasons. Insulation would be that sweater. Some people just think about that first part, but if you've ever worn a sweater in cold, going outside in winter, you know that cold air just goes right through that sweater, right through those threads. So you need something on top of just having that sweater, that insulation. You also need air sealing. So air sealing removes those holes. It prevents cold air from getting in and hot air from getting out, so that air movement reduces the effectiveness of the insulation. So without an air sealing windbreaker, you're going to feel that breeze through your sweater or through your house. And then that last bit, that comprehensive weatherization project, is when you're doing both of those things together. The sweater should always be in contact with a windbreaker, so you want to prioritize insulation in all the places with the most common leaks, and this will help you feel more comfortable, save money on your fuel bill, save energy, and also reduce carbon pollution. Which, come on, that sounds pretty great. So in the last decade, we've seen dramatic improvements in how we weatherize our homes. We know now that all Vermonters can save money just by adding insulation and air sealing in crucial areas like your attic and your basement. So we talked a little bit about the income eligibility piece. If your income falls at or below 80% of median income, you're eligible for free weatherization services. The best bang for your buck with comprehensive weatherization is to take advantage of the current rebates. You can get back up to $4,000 and up to half of the cost of a project if your income is at or below 160% of the median income, which that's just about 60% of Vermont households who qualify today. So I would highly recommend looking in um, to whether or not you can take advantage of those rebates. Important note here is that to access those rebates, you must work with an EEN home performance with Energy Star qualified contractor. For attic or basement weatherization with a contractor of your choice, there are smaller rebates available from Efficiency Vermont. So really trying to prioritize those areas as the most cost-effective options. And then, of course, Vermonters are handy. We have a DIY or do-it-yourself rebate. And I think if you're at home and you're trying to think of ways to do small things around the house, the DIY rebate, that $100, is a great option for right now. Nope. Oh, I didn't click to show you them changing colors into green. My apologies. So how do you get started? For example, renting, we have a lot of folks who are renters, and it can be frustrating because it feels like you don't have control over the energy costs in your home or apartment. But there actually are quite a few things you can do to reduce your energy costs. And Efficiency Vermont we're dedicated to helping you work with your landlord to take advantage of those programs. For example, when it comes to weatherization, renters are still eligible for the Weatherization Assistance Program and the Do-It-Yourself rebate at DIY. Rented single-family homes can qualify for the comprehensive attic and basement weatherization offers as well. And there's also our building performance program, which can help multi-unit and multi-family residences. So if you're a renter, there's still options. You'll need your landlord's permission to move forward with any of those solutions, though. In many cases, you would be responsible for the upfront cost of the project and then would receive the incentive. Or sorry, I said that wrong. They would be responsible for the upfront cost and they would receive the incentive, meaning your renter, meaning your landlord, not you, the renter. But we can help you figure out which of those solutions is best. Let's see, did I still need to do, does everything change color? No, okay. So this is I really love this slide because as a handy Vermonter myself, I would have put more into the DIY category for my own measures. I would think, yeah, I could totally take advantage and do the insulation in my basement or attic. But we highly recommend that you use a qualified contractor for the projects that are listed with that thumbs up under the qualified contractor. Because honestly, comprehensive weatherization is not a DIY project. Qualified contractors are they're essentially building scientists, and they're trained in not only the specialized equipment and process to do weatherization, but they're also able to check for health and safety in your home throughout the project. What happens more often than not is we hear from Vermonters who did try to DIY a weatherization project and were unable to, or did not use a qualified contractor, and the fixes needed to respond to some of the work that Vermonter did means that we ultimately do bring in a qualified contractor. So that's why I like this slide. It kind of breaks down what are the things you could do as an individual, but then also what should you really get a quote and a qualified contractor for. You can also find a full list of projects that can apply towards the rebates on our website. For example, weather stripping and caulking around doors and windows, insulating pipes, that's great. And if you're ready for a comprehensive project, you can also find information about reaching out to a contractor. Okay, so it was a quick going over weatherization. Let's talk about some of the other stuff that, once you've tightened up that home, you've weatherized it, what are the great options you could look into for heating your home cleanly and efficiently? Okay. Heat pumps, a great topic. Heat pumps have a number of benefits. They're powered with electricity. For Vermont, the majority of our electricity comes from renewable sources, and that's increasing every year. They're highly efficient, meaning your spending is going further. You're also not burning fossil fuels in your home. Another great thing. The most common heat pumps for home heating are what you see pictured on the right. That's a cold climate heat pump. And they're typically mounted on a wall, although there are floor mounted models. Those exist. You can have a single split or unit, or you can have multiple tied to a single outdoor compressor. These are typically going to offset about 50 to 75% of your home heating needs. So they're not a replacement for most homes, but they are a way to lower your heating fuel use or offset those oil costs. You can also have a heat pump for your water heating. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a moment, but the final thing here is there are newer options for whole home central heating. Through heat pumps, you can replace either a boiler with air to water or a furnace centrally ducted. All of those fossil fuel systems, there are many heat pump options. So I'm going to go over the basic mechanics, which this slide, let me just tell you, there's a graphic. Let's see if I can time it right with with hitting the button for the graphic. So how do heat pumps actually work? It might seem a little bit like magic, but it's just a bit of science. I always say they're like magic, but then again, it's because it works so well. So the outside unit pulls in heat molecules. Let's see if it does it. Oh, there we go. From even the coldest air. And the modern systems are now being rated at even as low as -20 degrees. The air runs through the refrigerant, as you can see, and then is passed through a compressor, which increases the temperature and the pressure of the refrigerant. Then the indoor unit releases the heat and sends the refrigerant back outside to repeat that process. So let's see. So boom. That I know you're blown away by that graphic. So this is essentially the reverse of how a window air conditioner works. But what makes it amazing is how efficient it is. On average, every 1 kilowatt hour of electricity you pay for, you get the equivalent of 3 kilowatt hours of heat output to your home. And that just is dependent on outside temperatures. So that's the winter side, or the cold side, bringing outdoor air to make heat. But what do we do in the summer? It is, or in the weird part of spring where it feels like summer, but it's not summer. What is that doing? You can do the same thing with cold. So the process reverses this, and it does act as a super efficient air conditioner and even a dehumidifier if you use that setting. Okay, so we've talked about that type of heat pump. So let's go and dive into how you can save on water heating. The science works the same when it comes to heat pump water heaters, except it's just one unit. There's no outdoor component. My family, we actually have a heat pump hot water heater. We really like it. It's in our basement. The water heater uses about 1/3 to 1/2 of the electricity of a standard electric water heater, which can save about 50 to 66% in water heating costs. So that's pretty substantial. They also actively dehumidify the air around them. So if it's stored in your basement, like it is in our case, you may be able to reduce the use of your dehumidifier as well. And I can personally attest to that. We moved our dehumidifier. We don't have it in the same spot. And we've definitely noticed that benefit. Okay, so now that I've talked about how heat pumps work and where you might be able to use that technology, let's talk a little bit about the rebates and other incentives that are on those products. So as I talked about at the beginning, there are lots of partners we use, and our utility partners also have rebates for cold climate heat pumps, and some may have heat pump hot water heater rebates as well. So the rebate section on our website, and I don't know if you can actually see my mouse, but I'm circling the how to redeem section with my mouse. That's a great place to start, and you can see what is available. Okay, so we've talked about heat pumps, talked about heat pump hot water heaters. What about some other ways to efficiently heat your home? The next one is wood heat. Okay, so this also has some fun graphics. So let's see if I can make that work. So what do we mean when we say advanced wood heating? It means that there's efficient combustion. The systems we consider advanced are extremely efficient in their combustion as compared to the average wood stove. That results in fewer particulate emissions coming into your home or out of your chimney, which also means less fuel is required, in this case, wood. Uh, they're automated typically. They're automated systems, unlike your wood stove, which you have to make sure you keep stocked with wood. These systems are automated, which means less maintenance or presence is required on your part. That keeps the heat in your home more stable, typically. I know we all love to stack wood, but a modern wood heating system can actually allow you to not have to do that. A big benefit is that it supports our local economy. 70 to 80% of every dollar spent on fossil fuel for heating actually leaves the Vermont economy. And it's almost the exact opposite when it comes to wood heating. 80% typically stays in Vermont when you spend it on wood for heating. It also helps ensure Vermonters that our forests remain by providing a source of income to allow them to remain as working forests rather than being parceled up or sold. So there's some uh, external benefits besides just being nice and toasty and not having to stack wood. Another benefit is that there are stable prices. It's good for your family budget too. Wood prices have been much more stable long term than fossil fuel prices, and the prices are typically lower than most fossil fuels for heating as well. You can get, oh, did it click? There we go. You can get bulk delivery. Wood pellets used in most residential advanced heating systems can be bought in bags at a local dealer or even delivered by truck, just like you might currently be getting your oil or propane. And did I mention you don't need to stack wood? Okay, so let me just. Uh, There are two main options for home advanced wood heating: pellet boiler or furnace or pellet stove. Which this slide might help you understand which one you might be looking for. Pellet boiler or furnace. Oh, there should be a graphic. Woo, there we go. Uh, a pellet boiler, which is on the left there, would be a full replacement for a current fossil fuel system. It would connect with your existing distribution system. Pellets would be delivered in bulk to a storage system next to the furnace or boiler. And these systems are significantly more expensive than pellet stoves, but would allow you to completely get off fossil fuels for heating. Then that pellet stove on our right there, this can be a direct replacement for an existing wood stove or an easy addition to make your home heating more efficient and more sustainable. Because you don't need to connect it to a chimney, they're easy to install in most homes, and you'll get the bags of pellets typically from a local store. And so then the rebates and incentives that are available from Efficiency Vermont and our partners, we have it for both of those systems, as well as efficient wood stoves. So definitely check out the website for that info. Okay, so now that you're experts on modern wood heating, heat pumps, and weatherization, you're pretty smart. But what about your thermostat? So smart thermostats, what does that mean? They're programmable. There are a lot of programmable thermostats out there, but they're not all quote unquote smart. Oh, I need to change your slide. There we go. But programmable is a great way to start. You can set it up so it warms before you get out of bed or before you get home from work, and it doesn't waste energy when you're out of the house. They're adjustable. Where smart thermostats start to differentiate themselves is that you can adjust the temperature from anywhere right from your smartphone or computer. So if you were able to figure out how to get into this Zoom meeting today, you are very much able, or if you're watching this later on YouTube, you're very much able to figure out how to have an adjustable smart thermostat at your home. They're also reactive. The thermostat will start to learn from your behavior. Are you always turning it up or down at a certain time? It'll actually build that into its routine. It's also weather responsive rather than thinking about, is there a coming cold front? How will that impact you? Should you turn the heat up before you leave, turn it down? the smart thermostat will actually be able to plan ahead for you. So all of those features can help you save money by not using the heat when you don't need it and by making sure you're still comfortable in your home. And we have some rebates available. We have a $100 rebate on the purchase of qualifying smart thermostats. Okay. So financing all of those projects. You can do a lot of this work without needing to put an upfront cost down. Okay, so what are the different options you could have? And I think this is where kind of the rubber hits the road for most Vermonters is, sure, I've talked about some great projects or some great appliances you might want to purchase, but how do you actually make those changes in your real life? How do you afford to make those changes? The home energy loan can cover the upfront cost of a weatherization project. It can also you can bundle that with heat pumps, heat pump hot water heaters, and wood heating systems. And depending on your income level and the term of the loan, you can see that you can have no or low interest financing available up to $40,000. That's pretty good. If you work with a qualified efficiency excellency network contractor, you can also have them help you manage the logistics about getting your project managed, getting your project financed. Okay. And then the last section to go over is maybe you're thinking about building a new place, or you've got an interest in what the science is behind building new construction. So we have different options for new homes. Most Vermonters will never build their own home, but if you are thinking about it in an efficient way is important. It's always more cost effective to build efficiency into your building from the start rather than try to retrofit or add efficient technology and products later. And this program actually does apply to both self-built homes and manufactured energy efficient homes like the Vermont. And we're here to help. You can take advantage of our free consultative services. We can engage with you in the design process, as well as you can receive up to $3,000 in direct incentives for completing a project. You could benefit from lower energy bills and a more comfortable home from the first day you move in. That's called like the Efficiency Vermont Certified Home. Great. So that's really the whole thing. And that's my info. And I'm happy to take questions or answer specifics. And then I have some time to go over how to access the website if that's something folks would like to learn about.
Awesome. Thank you, Becca. And then just a reminder to folks that I am recording this and I'll send out a link. But yeah, definitely hang on the webinar to see how to access the rebates on the website.
Oh, we have someone who raised their hand. Look at that. I don't know if you click on them, Tori, or
I just unmuted. So go ahead and state your question.
Hi, my question has to do with window replacement. We have a pair of custom-made windows. Can we get help with weatherproofing them? They're triangular, actually they're trapezoidal in shape.
oh wow, trapezoidal in shape.
They fit up in the eave, the outer wall up high. It's a cathedral ceiling.
Yeah. So typically, that's a fabulous question, and definitely a common one we get is, what can we do? What can we get for rebates when it comes to our windows or our doors? And I'll say typically we actually don't provide incentives for windows or doors. They're really the last thing on the checklist of where you can save the most energy. But we do have, and actually let me just jump onto the website, because I know we've got some info on Windows specifically. There are some services that you can use that do qualify. Are you thinking about just like weatherproofing, or?
Well, they're double pane windows, but they've lost the seal, so they need to be resealed or replaced.
Okay. Yeah, and we typically don't recommend replacement, or we don't incentivize replacement unless it's an absolute necessity. There are ways you can DIY it if it's a place that you can reach. Let me just pull up when to repair or replace your windows is the spot that I'm going to. And let me share my screen. All this technology. Okay. So let me just share this. Okay. So are you now seeing an Efficiency Vermont webpage?
No.
Oh, okay. Oh, I have to click share, don't I? Are you now seeing an Efficiency
Yes.
Vermont webpage? Okay, that's helpful. You have to click that button. So this is some info on windows and doors, and the example I was going to give you of where you could potentially see a rebate or incentive is on a low E window coating. That's a very specific type of kind of window insert. So
Yeah.
that's an option there is. Yeah. Is that something you've looked into?
No, not yet.
Yeah, I would definitely.
I was hoping we could get them resealed somehow.
Okay, yeah. So if you're thinking about resealing them, very interesting trapezoidal shape. There
Well,
are, let's go
they're
into,
custom made. That's what
beautiful. You could get like, are you considering it DIY?
Well, I assumed I was going to have to find a glass contractor to do the work.
Hmm. There are some, and I think this part of the website kind of gets to that. You can do your own window repairs if you have the interest, but if you would rather have a contractor or a professional,
Yeah.
there
Well,
are also options for that.
it's good to
And
know about the website. Yes.
yeah, and I would recommend actually if you, I can go back to it. Our customer support team is really good at kind of identifying what the right next step is for specific projects. So I would say even give them a call. It's a great
Okay.
time to be thinking about how to seal up that window. And if you can do DIY fixes in the meantime, that might work, or planning out to have a contractor or someone come would be a step you could take in the future too.
Right. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Are there any other questions for Becca while we have her? If not, shooting her an email or shooting me an email and I could forward on would be good.
Yeah, and one thing I didn't mention, but I think is really relevant in kind of the new world, new reality we live in with the stay at home, stay safe order, is there are DIY projects you can do at your home at this time of year. And we're working right now to roll out some online resources for folks to take advantage of that. In addition, we're working to have some virtual home energy visit style things available to Vermonters so that you don't have to have someone in your home walking around kind of pointing out where you might want to start with a project, but instead you can have someone virtually or over Zoom or over your smartphone. So we are trying to be responsive to that at this time. Yeah, and I can go over the website now, which again, let's see if I can Figure out my share screen. Try not to show you all my emails. Okay. Now, do you see the Efficiency Vermont web page?
Yes.
Great. Okay. Let me just move this way. Okay. So if you've ever checked out the Efficiency Vermont webpage, just efficiencyvermont.com, if you're thinking about a specific rebate or service, or you're not sure where to start, I always tell people to go to the rebates tab first. See if my internet will cooperate. There we go. So you can go to the what products or services are you looking for, and for example, you'll see that we don't have like windows as an option. But let's say you were intrigued and you said, yeah, you know, I'm really interested in weatherization. Insulation and air sealing might be a choice that you would look into for that. And let's say you are thinking about for your home, and you click search, and you'd wait for it to load because we're in Vermont. So this talks about the projects I spoke about over the presentation: attic and weatherization, attic and basement weatherization, the DIY weatherization incentive, that $100, and then that $4,000, up to $4,000 and 50% of a home performance with Energy Star project, that full weatherization project, that's that 50% custom incentive piece. So let's say you go, you know what, I'm really interested in that full weatherization project where we are sick of heating the outdoors, as it were. Let's find out what we need to do. So this gives you the incentive amounts that, let me go back right here. And then it also tells you who qualifies. So as I spoke about before, income eligibility, you can get up to $2,000 back depending on your income. But if you fall into a low to moderate income bracket, you can actually get that full up to $4,000. So this is talking about the different income limits depending on where you live. So if we look at all other Vermont counties, which would be us, unless you live in Chittenden, Franklin, or Grand Isle, this is where the income limits we're talking about. And then what I spoke about before with knowing, hey, what are the other utility partners doing? You can see that Washington Electric Co-op members are also eligible to receive an additional $600. This is the requirements that you would need. And then what's really helpful is up here in that corner, you can go to find a contractor. You say, you know what, I am so ready to get this project off the ground. I would like to connect with the contractor. At this point, probably not going to have them come out to your house, but you could start scheduling out or looking into future work. So let's see if I just put my zip code in. For the savvy Windsor County resident, you'll know that that's White River Junction. And then look at that. I have 52 results for weatherization contractors who serve my area. And I can choose to have filtered results of either only the energy, the EEN members, or I can filter it in other ways. And again, if you want to take advantage of those incentives, you would need to go through an EEN member. The first one we see, hey, cover home repair. Great group. But I'll go with, for example, building energy. We actually did our weatherization project through them when we did Button Up 2 years ago. So when I go and I click into building energy, I can read a little bit about what they do. I can see how many years they've been in business, how many employees they have, their different awards and designations, and then I can see all the different services they offer. And then maybe I say, oh, solar hot water. We would do that too. And then I can also read reviews, which in my opinion, I'm a review person. That's what helps me figure out the businesses I want to work with. So I would spend some time going through these, and so far they look pretty good. And then at that point, I have access to all of their info. I could pop over to the website, I could give them a call, and I can work to either schedule a visit for the future at this point, knowing that they couldn't come over in person, or just talk through some of the projects that I would like to consider. And since they're a part of the EEN, I know that I have someone who can help me go over the rebates that were available in that first section. And then there was one other thing I wanted to point out here. Oh, let's say we go back to that list of all the different, there's 52. And I'm like, gosh, wow, that's a lot of folks. I can give a call to the customer support team, and let's say I get 3 of those contractors. I reach out to 3 to get different estimates, and I'm looking at all of their different recommendations and their the info from the audit that they may have done. I can call customer support at Efficiency Vermont and have be given help to figure out what to make a decision. We won't recommend one contractor over another, but we're happy to help walk through the results or the quotes that you get. And then, so maybe Van de Ven Construction, I take a look at their work. I'm impressed. I see their service area is good. Look at that. They've got all sorts of qualifications, and same, they've got some really good recommendations. So that's really the info about how to access, go from rebate to finding your right next step. But if you're just in kind of the resource trying to figure out what you want to do, then products and technologies is another great place to look, especially if you're thinking about replacing an appliance or an electronic or even lighting. This is a great place to go to figure out where should you be putting your energy to find the right product. So I clicked washer and dryer. Gosh, do we need a new washer and dryer? I can read some info about all these different products. And then look, is that a heat pump dryer? Whoa. But I can also see our offers, which will load. And I can see all the available rebates, and that includes like clothes dryers. There we go. I could get up to $400 back. It'll load. There we go. And let's say I'm not sure which product. I can click on the eligible products list, or I could go straight to find a retailer. Let's see, who nearby me sells these efficient washer and dryers? Probably a good list. Oh, there we go. That was quite, if it loaded the way it did for me, it went from 0 to 367 to 43. So I'm going to go with that. And look, here we go. Best Buy, that's an example of a place I could get that efficient washer and dryer. The Home Depot in West Lebanon. I could even go to Lambert Supply. And then going down, look, Young's Furniture, all these, and it's all sorted by distance to my location. So yeah, there's all sorts of different options for me if I'm looking at getting a new washer and dryer. Yeah, so that's really everything with the website. If there's an area that folks have questions about, I'm happy to spend the time going over that. But if you are struggling, you say, gosh, Becca said something or talked about a place on the website that I don't know how to find, you're welcome. Again, my info to reach out, or just go straight to customer support. That's another good option.
Hi there.
Hello.
Hi. Can you speak a bit about the home energy audits that Efficiency Vermont can do?
Sure.
What it entails and how one would go about setting it up and etc. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah, great question. So I'm going to go back to the website. So I'll just start by saying that we don't offer home energy audits for free at Efficiency Vermont. What we do offer is in specific communities, we offer free home energy visits, which is a simplified, not a full audit, kind of gut check on where you could start with projects. And those areas that we offer those free home energy visits, those are a part of a program called Target Communities. So right now our target communities are Irisburg and Barton, Dorset, Marshfield, Plainfield, Island Pond, and Johnson. So with all of that being said, I'll take one step back where we are in unprecedented times, and we want to make sure that Vermonters have access to information. So we're working right now to have free home energy visits be available virtually. And in that way, we could open it up to the larger state. So not just those target communities. And while I don't have any specific, this is how you sign up now, that's in the works. And I can certainly connect with you when we've launched that. And you could be one of our folks that has a virtual home energy visit. And then that's one way to answer that question. The other way to answer that question is if you really want an audit and you want to kind of jump into finding a contractor, you can go to that Find a Contractor or Retailer tab, and members of the EEN will do an audit or a test in, test out, and can give you a scope of work that you would get the same information that you would want in an audit. They can give you that same information. So let's go to energy assessments. Let me pull that up. Okay, so when I click energy assessments and I didn't specify an area, let me filter those results. No, I want to filter it by. Well, I guess I could scroll down and say, oh, Heartland Four Corners, they do that. Building Basic Green LLC, they offer that. You can see that they offer energy assessments. So you could also just reach out to a contractor. Typically those are not free, but it could totally be worth it to get an energy assessment from a qualified contractor. Did that help answer that question for you?
Yes, thank you.
Oh, and another way, I'm always trying to find how do I help you now? You could also, there's some checklists available where if you wanted to kind of go through and do it yourself, there are some checklists on the website. And I know we're trying to make those resources more robust as folks are unable to have outside folks come into their home. So I can share that back with Tori once we've got that on the website. Cool.
Great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, look at that. 10:58, almost a complete hour.
Great. Thank you for tuning in to the webinar. Hope everyone doesn't go too crazy with the rain the next couple of days.
Great. Thanks. Well, I'm going to sign off then. Thanks, everybody.
Great. Thank you.